As two other guests and the heroes of the documentary we are making, I'd like to ask you, please, the first question, please introduce yourself. What is your name and your position?
As my name is Isaiah Dow. I am the General Overseer or the Presiding Bishop of the Pentecostal Church in Sudan and South Sudan.
This area you are from is well known because of Christian persecutions. Or you personally being persecuted yourself? I mean,
Yes, I was born in Sudan, and my family is traditionalist, African traditionalist, but I became a Christian, and immediately after that, the persecution began in '83 to 2005. And I lost my parents in the war, my father and my mother, and 3 of my brothers in situation related to war. And I only escaped because I had gone to the Bible school in East Africa. And my family is not unique in that sense. There are other families who have died in the war. And they're like that first war between Sudan and South Sudan before we became independent claimed more than 2 million lives. And of course we had our churches demolished, we were displaced from our villages, some of our people were killed, others were in prison, churches were demolished, and a lot of destruction was done by the jihadis. I must also add that the war was not just religious, it was also economic, and it was political, and it has many different aspects. But combined with that was the fact that we were in danger of being converted by force. So that's where I grew up, and that's when I became Christian and faced the persecution.
so being Christian in Sudan means being hero, right?
Yes. Of course now that has changed for me because my country has become a very new country. South Sudan became independent in 2011. But yeah, you could say it like that. Being a Christian in that predominantly Muslim country is a matter of life and death.
And why do you think the government been doing this to Christians? Why? They wanted to eradicate the Christian population and the faith completely out of Sudan?
I think the scripture is very clear. Whether it is Islamic government or any other government, the agenda is always that persecution is meant to silence us, to stop us from following Christ.
They consider you as an infidel and
Yes.
almost not a human being, right? So how do you think it is possible in the 21st century?
That's the amazing thing, that the persecution, if you do your research, you will find that it is more in the 21st century than it has ever been. Because people who have died during the 21st century for their faith are more than the people who were killed in previous centuries. And that is in the era of technology and information technology. That's amazing. The world doesn't pay attention to that. As I speak to you, there are Christians who are dying in the Middle East. But it is not in the media like others, and that's what is amazing us. It should be in the media so that if we talk about freedom, and we talk about freedom of religion, freedom of expression, freedom of association, then the world should do something about it. But it seems the religious persecutors and the secular media, it seems like they agree to make sure that Christians are silenced. And that is where we need to continue to speak out until this persecution stops.
When you were imprisoned, were they torture you?
Personally, I've never been to prison because I had to run away. But the people who had been to prison, some of whom I know are pastors, it is torture. It is psychological torture, it is physical torture, it is abuse, sometimes it is sexual abuse as well, torture as well.
What do you think about the media, world media support to the Sudanese Christian situation Is it, do you feel some sort of support, or you feel a complete lack of attention?
You know, media is part of the country itself, and it articulates the principles and values of that particular country.
I mean, Sudanese media, right?
Yeah, so not much of it will see this as wrong. The media will go out of their way even to implicitly support what is being done, or they become altogether silent. They don't say it because it's not worth news. It is not worth news.
What do you think it would be a solution, how to settle the situation? What the world community is supposed to do to help you?
I think the UN and the world international community, they need to make it very clear that nobody should be victimized or persecuted for their beliefs. If we talk about the freedom of expression, freedom of movement, we should also really emphasize the freedom of worship, and that nobody should be victimized or persecuted for their faith.
Do you know anything about Russian Orthodox Church attempts to help persecuted Christians to start?
Yeah, I just heard of it, and we are thankful that they are standing up. The Russian Orthodox Church, of course, has been through persecution for many years, so they are qualified to speak on behalf of others because they know what it is to be persecuted. And we are very grateful for that.
Here in this magic hall, where the international forum is taking place, I saw a list of names of the people, Christians, who were persecuted. Did you see any names of your countrymen?
Mm-hmm. We saw some
list
names.
of the names?
Yes.
Victims?
Yes. There are victims from our former country, that is Sudan. But now in South Sudan, there is no persecution, religious persecution.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
God help you.
Thank you.